I've recently made some adjustments, prioritizing what needs to be saved and returned.
So I got an excellent clip for you guys, and it is of course the CEO giving a presentation speaking about the recent adjustments that they've made to the company to focus more on short-term goals and targets while maintaining the long-term trajectory and staying focused long-term as well, but not just overly putting everything long-term, but also making sure that they achieve certain short-term milestones. And they've really reflected on this and implemented this. And when it comes to like Envoy deliveries, everybody wants their Envoy cars really soon, and they've made adjustments. They've made numerous adjustments actually, so that they can actually fulfill most of the orders this year. So they're making a lot of adjustments to make sure that they're focusing on short-term returns as well, and not just everything long-term. So this is definitely good. I'll roll the clip right now.
Long-termism can become a pitfall if you're not careful. Long-term thinking can be a trap if you're not vigilant. We've actually drawn some conclusions about this regarding long-term thinking and long-termism. We should be aware of 3 potential pitfalls, some of which we've already fallen into, others we need to be cautious about. So what's the first major pitfall? In today's rapidly changing world, I think it's organizational inertia, because the world is changing so quickly now. In this process, if your habits are too ingrained, if you're too set in your ways, you can't respond quickly to external changes. You're slow to adjust. The cost of this inflexibility is very high. However, in this process, if you don't balance long-term goals with short-term needs, you might end up spending a lot of money. Because prices are dropping now, electronic costs are coming down, electronic costs have already decreased. This person doing this task has a problem. So this relates to today's habits. Company habits will align with long-termism. It can make the company itself unsafe. So what's the second major pitfall? I believe it's about capital boundaries. It seems to be a huge industry now. For a startup like ours, we indeed have a lot to do. How do we maintain focus? Which things truly require long-term thinking? Which are short-term, urgent responses? If we treat everything as a long-term investment, our resources will surely be depleted. I'll always invest long-term in R&D. We invest 3 billion yuan in R&D quarterly. Last year, we invested 10.08 billion yuan. We'll also invest long-term in tech infrastructure. That's a lot of long-term investment. If short-term returns aren't enough, it will put pressure on our resources. I've recently made some adjustments, prioritizing what needs to be saved and returned. The third point is long-termism can lead to ignoring short-term efficiency. Everyone just talks about long-term goals. Why is long-term thinking good? Short-term results are then not seen as urgent or important, right? This actually helps to compare them. It creates a cultural contrast in the company. I think this is also very dangerous. This is also a major issue. So for this year, I've been emphasizing internal efficiency, including recent internal adjustments. Don't use long-termism as an excuse for poor execution. It's very easy to do that. It's easy to make those excuses. So these are pitfalls we've encountered. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, in this era of increasing uncertainty, long-term returns are decreasing. Risks are increasing. We need to understand our industry's fundamentals, stick to our core principles, and navigate through this. This applies to all of us in business. In this environment, we need to make a deep effort.
So this, of course, gives me very good confidence that they're also making sure that they're getting short-term returns as well as staying focused long-term. But more importantly, a lot of you guys have been commenting, should I buy NIO stock now? Is it too late to buy NIO stock? Well, the thing is, you got to think about the company, Tesla. What happened to Tesla before the Model 3 and Model Y versus after the Model 3 and Model Y? And we're sort of at that inflection point as well, because right now, NIO vehicles, they've been selling tremendously well, actually. 20,000 monthly for NIO high-end expensive vehicles. They're so expensive, all right? NIOs are not cheap. They're like, here in China, they're all pretty much above 300,000 RMB, which is more than double what most people would pay for cars. So you got to be fairly well off to be able to afford a NIO. And most people, that means, they have a family, they have a home, they have their own business, or they're well off in their workplace. And of course, with Tesla before, it was a similar situation. The Model S and Model X catered more towards the premium high-end customers. And then of course, they launched the Model 3 and Model Y for mass market. And what did that do to the stock? Well, of course, Tesla eventually 10x, 20x, 30x, 40x because of just able to capture more of the market, right? And here with NIO, we're at that inflection point with Anvo, right? Anvo is like the Model 3, Model Y for NIO, and it's going to be delivering a lot of cars. In fact, sales of that will eventually outpace NIO brand sales, right? NIO brand is doing 20,000, so that means we're going to expect Anvo to do even more than 20,000. It's just a bigger market, right? The luxury premium EV market is just tiny, but NIO still captured around 40% of that luxury EV market, which is incredible. So already NIO is winning, all right, in the luxury EV market. But now NIO has the weapon and tools to win in the mass market, okay, the mass family market. And they're probably going to deliver more than 20,000 per month once production ramps up, just because of how good the quality of the product is, all right, and the price range that this car is at. And on top of that, right, we also have the sub-brand, the Firefly sub-brand, which is going to be the budget market. And that's like Tesla coming out with like a $15,000 car, US dollar car. Well, NIO's going to do that first, and it can do battery swap. So that's also going to capture a lot of market. And of course, with battery rental, you're going to be able to push the price of that even down even more, make it even more affordable. It's going to be so affordable that anybody can pretty much buy this car, all right? So you're at that inflection point where you're coming out with products that's going to be able to multiply the delivery numbers by double or triple. What is that going to do to the revenue, right? Of course, revenue, likewise, is also going to increase. Of course, what does that mean for profitability? Of course, profitability is also going to increase. Even though NIO isn't profitable right now, right, we can expect profitability soon once all three brands start delivering vehicles at capacity. And that's going to be very, very good news down the line. And NIO will eventually become a profitable company down the line. Of course, they're investing in themselves with R&D long term, but they're also focused on those short-term goals. And it tells me that even though some people may not like the CEO, but you got to admit that he is a visionary, all right? The fact that he's able to achieve 40% market share in the luxury EV segment here in China is absolutely incredible. All right, nobody has that big of a market share here in China in the luxury EV segment apart from NIO. So everybody's trying to learn from NIO when it comes to making luxury EVs. So we're at that inflection point, and you ask me, should I buy NIO stock now? I'm not a financial advisor. I can't say you should buy or you shouldn't buy, but definitely the long-term prospect, there's very good growth ahead. I'm not sure if you guys see the growth, but I do definitely see the growth ahead. This company is going to be a massive company down the line with all those swap stations, energy trading as well, grid stabilization, everything. It's got everything going for it. All right, it's got success down the tunnel, but we're going through the tunnel and we've entered the tunnel. So it's going to take some time, definitely, but do I see it going 10x or 20x from here? Definitely. All right, we can definitely 10x, 20x from here. No problem. Could we also see a short-term pullback? Definitely. We could also see a short-term pullback. There's definitely some people bearish out there, some shorts, that kind of stuff. They want to tell you that the company's running out of money and that kind of stuff. Of course, that's never the case. NIO is able to get money anywhere. You got the government begging to invest in NIO. I mean, like, that just tells you that even if it comes to a day where they're scarce on cash, they really need money, there's going to be plenty of people lining up to own a slice of NIO, to invest in NIO, like the government. All right. So with that said, should you buy NIO stock? My non-financial opinion is, if you're holding it for short term, do your own research, maybe reconsider. But if you're holding it for the long term, 10 plus years, this company is going to be absolutely huge in the next 2 years. All right. So 10 plus years, this company is going to be a behemoth. All right. So I can definitely say with confidence, in 2 years, by the end of 2025, all right, that's actually 1 year, but 2026, it's going to be like a massive company. All right. And could the stock 10x from now, 2 years later? Absolutely possible. All right. Yeah. But of course, not financial advice. If you see the growth, then be confident about the company. I am very confident about the company. I'm very confident with the CEO, and they are striving for short-term returns as well for shareholders. That is good. All right. That is very, very good. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.